The parallel coil. Can it be an evolutionary step in a single coil? First of all, what is a parallel coil? Here's one up close for you. At first glance, it looks just like a regular single macro coil, doesn't it? But if you look closer, and here it is again, you'll see that there's 2 strands running through each connection, not one. And there's the kicker, boys and girls. Okay, so I'm gonna go over why I think this makes a huge impact on your vape quality for your dripper. Whoever came up with this coil build, genius. I'm gonna give you some examples. I'm gonna tell you why, to make it more clear for those of you guys who are looking at just another coil and going, it's just another coil, what's the difference? So the parallel coil that I have in this Zenith version 1 sitting on this Prism by Deus. It's made of 24 gauge Kanthal, first of all, and it is 4 wraps around a 1/8 inch drill bit, which I'll show you guys in the close-ups because I am going to show you how to build her. But as you can see, there she is right there, and she's nice, fat, thick old parallel coil. So that is 4 wraps. Okay, see how those coils are parallel? You can't tell. I know, it looks like a regular coil, doesn't it? Now I'm going to show you a regular single coil using 24 gauge Kanthal, the same Kanthal that the parallel coil is made out of. And it's wrapped around a 1/8 inch drill bit, just like the parallel coil. All right, there she is right there. That's just a regular single macro coil, 8 wraps, okay, on a 1/8 inch drill bit. Look at that. Same exact length, width, identical, visually identical, but they're different. They are totally different monsters. Okay, there's the parallel coil, just as long as the single macro coil at 8 wraps, and this is reading 0.25 ohms. 0.25 ohms. You got it? All right, you remember how I just showed you that 8 wrap of 24 gauge macro coil around a 1/8 inch drill bit? Same exact length as the parallel coil, covers the same amount of surface area, etc. Here it is on the ohm reader. 0.8 ohms. Okay, that's versus the parallel coil, 0.25 ohms. 0.8 ohms versus 0.25 ohms. Huge difference. So not only does it cover the same amount of surface area as the regular single macro coil, it's also producing 2.5 times more heat, which equals more flavor, vapor, throat hit. Colossal difference. That is if you like warm to hot vapes. Okay, so I wrapped another single macro coil half the size as the 8 wrap single macro coil. So a 4 wrap around a 1/8 inch drill bit. Look at that. Half the size of the parallel coil. By the way, this 4 wrap coil is also made with 24 gauge Kanthal. And what do you think that the ohm reader is reading this coil at? 0.5 ohms. Twice the resistance as the parallel coil. So basically, a parallel coil is a single macro coil with a dual coil punch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to vape on her, and then I'm going to show you guys how to build her. So like I said, I've got this parallel coil. It's 4 wraps, really 8 single wraps, which I'll show you guys again in the close-ups. Oh, by the way, this isn't even a freshly charged battery. I've been vaping on this thing for at least 30-45 minutes now. You gotta soak this sucker up with juice. You gotta put tons of drops on here. I'm putting like 15 drops on here right now, and I can get probably anywhere between 3 to 5 hits. Yeah, but this thing really vaporizes that juice and fast. This is a short hit setup, but yeah, as you can see, I'm taking like 4-second hits. That's really long for this setup, but I really like the hot vape. I like the warm to hot, dense, in your face, thick ass vape. Here's a 1-second hit for you. Massive amounts of vapor, lung fill, intense. It's just a hellacious setup for your hellacious vapor. You gotta love it. The only con that I can come up with is that this thing guzzles juice. You gotta put tons of drops. Like I said, I just put 15 drops on here, and I've gotten about 3 to 5 hits out of it. Granted, I'm also taking longer hits than most people. Most people with this setup would only take probably 1 to 2 seconds max. But I'm just crazy like that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna show you guys how to build this sucker. Are you ready? Let's do it. All right, so I got my 24 gauge Kanthal. I got about 8 inches, okay, cut right here. You gotta have a 1/8 inch drill bit, because I'm just gonna fold these two pieces just like that. Okay, you wanna make sure that each strand is completely parallel. You don't want these things crisscrossing, because if they crisscross, you're gonna have short issues. Okay, pinch it slowly, just like that. Every time I pinch it, I get in closer and closer. Okay, but you got to be gentle with it, because if you're not, you're going to crunch them together and they're going to crisscross. Okay, there you have it right there. You got them parallel just like that. Now the next step. Okay, so all we're going to do, hold it just like that, and then we're going to start our wraps. And you want to make sure that these wraps are as close together as possible. And you also want to make sure that the leads, this wire, stays parallel and close together. You don't want them crisscrossing, overlapping, or anything like that. You ready? Here we go. And we're doing 4 wraps, by the way. Okay, now you see that tail end right there? We're going to pull this in, we're going to tidy everything up, get these coils as close together as possible. See how they're knotted up in the middle? They're still side by side by side by side, but you see how some are uneven? To fix that, it's easy. All you do is grab the leads that are coming up. In this case, it's the left lead. So you grab this lead and you just pull it tight, and you'll pull the slack out. And if you want to take it to another level, you get your pliers and you pull on it, and it tightens it right up. Pull on the other one, tightens right up. Pulls those knots right out. Now we're going to go ahead and fix this other lead over here in this coil. We're getting somewhere, but you don't want there to be gaps. You want to get these things as close together as possible. Got my tweezers. I'm going to pull it together just like that. I mean, you got to have strong fingers. You got to have strong hands to do this build. If you don't, you're SOL. Clip the leads a little bit. Going to go ahead and insert the leads. Now, you want to make sure that the leads are parallel. You don't want them crisscrossing. Okay, got her pushed in there. Tighten down the connections. Clip the excess leads. Give it a few pinches. Gently, guys, okay? And then what you do is you insert your drill bit back in there. And all you're going to do, pull up and out. And it stretches and pulls the tension out. Okay, pulls the tension out of the coil. See how they're evening out more? Beautiful. Oh yeah, and that is exactly what you want. Glowing evenly from the inside out. Now a lot of people with these macro coils, they like to leave space in between the coil and the deck. But for me, I notice that with this coil, you can't do that. It just vaporizes juice way too fast. And you gotta have as much cotton underneath that coil as possible to keep it saturated at all times. So that is the parallel coil. I hope that helps. She's a beast, and she's, I mean, really easy to build. IMO. This is Rip Trippers. And remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is